I'm Ted at Windy Hill Farm and Handy Horseman YouTube channel. Working with Cody here today, and I saw a great opportunity where I can help you understand how to bridle a horse. And Cody here, this is a green horse, and he's never been ridden. He's about 10 years old. As far as I know, he's never had a bit in his mouth. And you know, I've done a video on this where I've had a horse where he's had the bit in his mouth 1,000 times. And it's a good example, but there's not much to be learned from it. So I'm going to take Cody here, and I'm going to bridle him for the first time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some things you can do that'll help you. So I'm going to take my stick, and I'm going to stick it in his mouth, and get him used to just something being in his mouth. Okay? Okay. So I'm cheating a little bit. Earlier today, I did this with him for another video, and it didn't work out this way. So when I first put the stick in his mouth, he picked his head straight up in the air. Okay? And was very resistive about it. Well, I worked with him for about 5 minutes, and I got it to where he's like, well, that's not so bad. Okay. But we're at. So now, when I bridle a horse, this is my schooling bridle. And this schooling bridle, the purpose of that is I've been working this horse in hand where he's used to following signal off his nose. Okay? So I can move him all over the place by him answering the signal on his nose. Well, this bridle right here is designed where when I put my reins in these rings in my snaffle bit, I'm still going to be signaling off his nose about 80% of the time, and then I'll signal in his mouth about 20%. Got a real nice, quiet, soft, 3-piece French link bit in there. We call it a dog bone. Okay. So I'm going to take my bridle and I'm going to adjust it bigger than I know it needs to be. I don't want to just smash his ears down. I'm going to take the bridle and I'm going to trap his nose. And see how I got my right hand between his ears? Well, I didn't start this out like this. We worked today on me just putting my hands over his ears without the bridle. And I got him to where he'd drop his head and be very confident and very comfortable with me around his muzzle and nose. Okay? So see how I take my hand like this, and I'm just massaging that, making this a pleasant experience for him. I'm just not grabbing his, because you got to think sometimes horses have been twitched, or sometimes horses have been handled roughly in their mouth. It's a very sacred place. It's a very sensitive place. He carries his emotions in his nose. Okay? So before I ask him to take the bit, I got to make sure he'll even accept my hand right there. There. His bottom lip. Okay, he's still not quite sure what's going on here. But see, he's my buddy. I've been working with him all day, and me and him has just turned into real buddies here, me and Cody. So now I'm going to take my bit, and I'm going to put my thumb in right here on the side and touch his gum. Okay. And I'm going to pull with my right hand up just a little. Okay. I'm going to hold it just like I did with the stick. Okay. And I'm going to drop it in his terms. So you notice I didn't pull it over his ears the first time, because I got to get this done first. Okay. I'm going to make a very nice request. Right. Drop it. Now I'm going to hold his bit up. I'm going to take his off ear forward, this ear forward. See, now everything is too big, that's okay. Now I'm going to take and adjust this up. I just want it hanging in the corners of his mouth. I don't want any wrinkles in there. But see how this nose piece matches where this is? So he's used to this signal with the holder. And now when I take the reins and signal him, he's responding to the same signal with very little pressure in his mouth. So he's just kind of just carrying that bit around, okay? Carrying that bit around. So now, I take my thumbs and I put in the rings just like this, and I ask him to back, and I ask him for flexion, and I gotta caution you, be careful. If you didn't do your homework, you gotta watch my other videos on how to soften. He'll toss his head and knock your hat right off your head. But see, we're teaching him now to signal when we're not on his back, okay? And we're not quarreling with him with his rings, okay? So he's tonguing that bit, and that's okay. So what I might do here is I'm going to let him just wear that bridle while I'm working him in hand with my holder, and just let him carry the bit without any reins attached to it, and let him just get used to having that in his mouth. You know, he's got to adjust himself to that. So I'd be kind of foolish to put reins on there and get on his back and kind of start jerking and pulling him around like some people do. So I'm not going to hook those reins up until that quits. He's got to stop that. Well, it's just a foreign object in his mouth. He doesn't know what that is, but he'll get to where that's just as common as anything, and he won't be chewing at that bit. Okay. So that's how I recommend putting it on. Now to take it off, we're going to come over his ears lightly, and see how I got it just like this. He's got his head down, and I'm going to let him drop it. Not going to let it hit his teeth. Like that. Now folks, there's a horse that I don't think's ever had a bit in his mouth. But you see, if you take just a little extra time and you do this right the first time, it'll affect the rest of his life. It'll be a good, usable horse for somebody.